What's up, Bonitas? Reverend Dave. Today, starting a new series. Been meaning to do this for a minute, and it's going to be a lot to it. I'm sure I'll probably leave some stuff out, but today I want to start a series on defensive magic. What is that? Types, things like that. I mean, there's so much to it. So I'll probably split it up into maybe 2 or 3 videos. I don't know. We'll see how long it takes. But I'm talking like jinxing, warding, binding, banishing, hexing, cursing, freezer spells, sour jars, hot foot powder, voodoo, hoodoo, all that stuff. There's so much. I guarantee I'm probably going to leave a lot of stuff out. Not on purpose, just because there's a lot to cover. So, let me start. Let's say this. What is defensive magic? What do you call that? What is it? Basically, in a nutshell, it's like martial arts. It's like a self-defense for you, but in magic. And it's a good practice to learn, and not everybody chooses the path to do it, and it's not all harming and vengeful type of stuff or whatever. It is not all about that. It can be, and some of it is, but it doesn't have to be. It all, just like any magic, all depends on you. Okay? All there is to it. So it's a good practice to learn, but like I said, it's to be used with caution, be used carefully. And of course, like anything else, it's like you don't earn a black belt in karate in a week. It takes time and practice, and you got to know what you're doing. And some of it can get really tricky. Some of it's kind of easy to do. Depends on what you're doing. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can on that type of stuff. So this type of magic is designed to basically is to use to defend yourself or others from any harm. Physical harm, mental harm, emotional harm. And then of course, magical harm. And we're going to be talking about hex breakers and curse removal and return to sender spells and all that stuff as well. At the end of the videos, we'll get into that. In my opinion, I suppose, this type of magic is best used as a last line of defense, so to speak. Sometimes, I hear a lot of it's like in all the witchy groups that I'm in and whatever, people will complain about, I did this, I smudged my house and myself, it wasn't enough, there's this and this is going on and this and that. Sometimes a simple protection spell is not enough. And this is kind of like that extra oomph to go along with your protection spell, I guess. It's just a much stronger form of protection, I guess you'd say. Now, defensive magic, it comes in many forms. And a lot of it, different styles or whatever, can be from, geographically, culturally, generational, and it's funny because how sometimes in some of my videos I like to reference biblical things or whatever just because it's in my upbringing and whatever, and there's so many similarities, blah, blah, blah. The Bible's filled with generational curses, filled with it. And so here's a list. I'm going to give you a list of just, and I kind of mentioned it before when I started, just a list of some of the stuff, the types or whatever. You know, I said jinxing, warding, binding, banishing, hexing, cursing, voodoo, hoodoo, conjuring, santeria, palo, gimbanda, brujeria. There's so much. And like I said, this is just some. So don't come at me, well, with what about this? What about this? What about it? I didn't, there's, like I said, there's a ton of crap out there. So it depends on where you're from, what you do, how you're raised, what you learn, whatever. So, bunch of different types. And then along to go with that, the different things like sour jars, freezer spells, binding spells. And we're going to, in the next video or whatever, when I get to that point, I'll show you how to do some of those. And some of the books that I recommend, some of my favorite YouTubers, hexing YouTubers that I like, and people that, that I follow, that I look up to, talk to occasionally. I'm going to recommend those to you as well. So, let's start with warding. What is warding? Okay. Warding is super simple, super basic. It's just a protection barrier, if you will. It's basically putting a barrier between you and whatever it is that's coming against you. And what a barrier is, it's basically to keep you safe from harm or danger or attack. It's meant to defend, preserve, protect, secure, shield, that type of stuff. I mean, it's like salt. Salt is used as a protection barrier in meat for centuries. It's, so here's a couple things. Like I said, I'm going to try to touch on each one of these things. I'm not going to get super into them because it'll take me forever. And I'm trying to keep all my videos like at least 20 minutes or under. So here's a few things. Like I said, salt is one. It's very important. It's just like always used, or not always used, but used a lot in casting your circle. Protection barrier for your house. Amethyst, the stone amethyst, is known to have properties that help with sleep. Like if you put an amethyst stone under your pillow, it's supposed to ward off nightmares and give you a peaceful sleep. That's a good thing. And then herbs, gosh, there's so many herbs, I can't even list how many, but we're going to talk about one later on as well. I can share with you now, but it's going to be part of the hex removal series or whatever. But the herb hyssop, it's a biblical herb, and it's basically, in biblical times, it's known to spiritually cleanse your sin away. So, another thing you could try, if you feel that you're being attacked or whatever, try taking a bath with some hyssop. Or you can even drink it in a tea. Okay? So that's just warding. Okay, we're just going to keep kind of going up. Next one is jinxing. Now, this is a funny one because, I don't know, it's like, remember me being a kid and you and your friends say the same thing at once? You're like, jinx! I don't know where that came from, but that's not really what it is, I guess. Jinxing is more of unconscious type of thing where you're not doing it, I guess, intentionally, but then you are. I don't know. Okay, let me back up. Okay, put it this way. You ever just give somebody the evil eye? Like, oh, just fucking, I hope you fucking trip and fall. And then it happens, like, instantaneously, like, oh shit. That's basically what jinxing is. But, in my opinion, I honestly think in order for that to happen, your vibrational frequency, and I talk a lot about that, and other things, your whatever, have to be in tune, in line or something. Because can you imagine if that just was a thing, everybody would be walking around going, you fucking rugger, and just, yeah, no. So that's basically what jinxing is. Just mentally, just thinking it, and just pushing that energy on someone, and it doesn't have to be intentional. You could just be thinking it, and it just happens. I mean, there's another thing too, like and I thought about this the other day because I said to myself, because out here in the desert, we get a lot of scorpions, obviously. And occasionally they sneak in the house and whatever. Thank God I get my house sprayed, so they're all usually dead when I find them, but sometimes there'll be and the other day, or this is a couple weeks ago or whatever, I'm thinking like, God, I haven't seen a scorpion in a while. It's good. And then, boom, that night or the next day I see one. I'm like, shit, I just jinxed myself. To me, that's what jinxing is. It's just like a subconscious whatever thing, and you kind of just throw it into existence. I don't know. So that's basically what jinxing is. At least that's how I interpret it. So you may have your opinion. Leave it in the comments. Whatever. Moving on. And I got a lot to cover, so I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get into this particular video. But like I said, I'm going to break it up. So I'm just going to go over one more, and that's binding. And then I'll cover some more. I think I can do that. But basically, to bind means to control or limit someone's power over you. Now, the idea behind this type of spell, symbolically, to tie someone up or something, okay, in order to restrict their actions or their words against you, and to prevent from harming you or themselves or others, and it's good to give it a start and end time with your intention. You could do it on yourself to help break a bad habit. So like I said, just because it's binding doesn't always have to be a bad thing. It's just something to help bind and to bind something from happening. So it's binding, and it's not meant to harm. Binding is not really meant to harm anybody. It's just to restrict them from harming you or themselves or whatever the case may be. But it's not meant to harm. So, and a binding spell or a freezer spell are really popular and really good for this type of defensive magic. And then, like I said, later on in the video, I'm going to show you how to do that, because there's a proper way to do it. It's easy, but there's a proper way to do it. So we're going to go over that in a bit. So let me do one more, and then that should be good, and then I'll start another video. So the next one is banishing. Now, unlike binding, binding is just to restrict somebody. It can be for a temporary time or whatever without really harming them. Banishing is a little more permanent, where you want something or somebody completely out of your life. Banished. Gone. And if it's a person, this type of spell is meant to stop them from not just ever seeing you again, but even just thinking about you. You want them just completely gone, without harming them, just gone. Cause them to go. And there's a lot of banishing spells out there, I suppose, and rituals, and stuff to do this. But I think some of the more popular ones, I guess, once again, it's like freezer spell. There's banishing jars, hot foot powder, things like that. And so once again, banishing is not really meant to do harm. It's just to get rid of somebody. So I know I think a lot of people have a misconception about binding and banishing, thinking that, that's hardcore, magic, or, it's just, it's just restricting or getting something out of your life, or, to preventing harm. It's basic. It's that. So those are just the basic things for defensive magic. And it's just, like I said, we're just starting this. So I'm going to end it here. And then in my next video, I'm going to talk about hexing and cursing and some other things, and poppets and all that type of stuff and whatever. So you guys, thanks again for watching. Please, if you dig my stuff, subscribe, like, and thank you once again for your positive feedback and your comments. Don't forget the giveaway, like I said in my last video. Once I hit my 500th subscriber, I'm going to give you a cool shirt just for my appreciation. So, love you guys. Remember, do no harm, take no shit. Peace.